Hello, today we are going to be reviewing writing equations and writing and solving two-step equations. This is a review concept. You did this last year in 6th grade, so this should be pretty easy. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to translate sentences into mathematical equations. To translate sentences into mathematical equations, you need to do 3 things. Read the sentence, identify and label the variables, and then create the equation. So let's look at an example. Zach has 6 shirts, okay? Has is a word that will help you. It means equal, usually. This is 4 less than twice the number of shirts N that Xavier has. So those are the important words. Then you want to go ahead and start writing the things above your highlighting. 4 less means minus 4. Twice means 2 times, and then you've got your variable. So our equation would look like 6 equals 2n minus 4. I'll do 2 more, and then the rest will be on your note check. Write an equation that matches each sentence. 8 more than the quotient of a number y and negative 3 is negative 24. So let's write what we know. 8 more is plus 8. Quotient means division. Y is our variable. Negative 3 is another word for equal. And then negative 24. Let's put it all together. So I always like to start by putting my equal in because that's easy. Okay. And then we know 8 more than the quotient of a number y and negative 3. So plus 8. So 8 plus the quotient means to divide, y divided by negative 3. That is our equation. Right there. Okay, go ahead and go to your next page. Okay, it looks like I already did the work on this page. Jeremy has 13 baseball cards, so has is equal, which is 7 more, that's plus 7, 1/5 the number m. 1/5 the number m means to times it. So you would write 1/5 m plus 7 equals 13. These 3 will be on your note check, so please do your highlighting and label your parts of the sentence to write your equations. Okay, now we're going to write and solve an equation. Okay, Juan's father was 29 years old when Juan was born. This year, the sum of their ages is 53. So is equal. Okay, sum means add, so let's add it up. So we have to identify some variables. Let's call x Juan. Okay, Juan's dad was 29 years old when Juan was born, so x plus 29 equals Juan's dad. So then the sum of their ages equals 53, so we have x plus 29 equals 53. Now let's solve it. Then you combine your like terms, so 2x plus 29 equals 53. If we solve that, I didn't give myself a lot of room, we of course subtract first, so 2x equals 53 minus 29. So on both sides, 53 minus that will be 22. 2x equals 22. So, okay. Oops, sorry, my bad. 53 minus 29 is not 22. That's a mistake. Silly math mistake. It's 24. So x divide both sides by 2. X equals 12, so that means Juan is 12, and then Juan's dad is 12 plus 29. Okay, so Juan's dad is 41. All right, let's see how many more there are. There's 2 more. I'm going to have you do one on the note check, and I'll... Okay, let's do one more question together, and then you can do the other one in the note check. Alex saved $D last month. This month he saved 8 more then 3 times the amount he saved last month. He saved a total of 141. Write and solve an equation to find out how much more he saved last month. So let's start with our equal. Total is another word for equal, so that's 141. He had D dollars last month. This month he saved 8 more. That's 8 plus 3 times. Okay, so 3 times the amount he saved last time. So D plus 8 plus 3D. Okay, because that's the 3 times more. I'm just putting the parentheses to kind of show last month and then this month. You want to combine your like terms. So D plus 3D is 40 plus 8 equals 141. Using our river, let's solve it. Take off the bow like we learned last year with 2-step equations. Bow comes off before the wrapping paper. 141 minus 8 is 133. 4D equals 133. Let's go ahead and get your calculator out to do your division. Divide by 4 on both sides. Okay, 133 divided by 4 is equal to 33. D equals 33.25. That's the amount he saved last month. Okay, good job. Okay, for number 3, I want you to do this one in the note check. Make sure to read it, underline the important parts, write and solve an equation. Okay, in the note check we'll be looking for the equation and the solution. Okay, oops. Okay, now it's time to move on to solving 2-step equations. By the end of this notes section, you will be able to solve 2-step equations using inverse operations and the distributive property. Again, this is all review from last year, so this should be pretty easy. What is a 2-step equation? It's an equation containing 2 operations, okay? Usually you have multiplication and or division, and then you have addition or subtraction. If you remember from 6th grade, when we taught you this, we used the wrapping paper example. So, for example, in a 2-step equation, you would have something like 2x plus 4 equals 6. Okay, that's your bow. You always take off the bow before you take off the wrapping paper, and the multiplication or division is your wrapping paper. Okay? So when solving 2-step equations, get the term with your variable alone. That is your job. Get the variable totally alone. You always undo addition or subtraction first, okay? Super important, all right? Okay, let's do a few examples. Okay, let me just fix my pen a little bit. Okay, all right, solve each problem for the variable. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to do your river. Okay, undo the addition or subtraction first, so we will take off 1 from both sides. Okay, then we were left with 6x equals 24. Then divide both sides by 6. X equals 4. You always want to go back and check your work, right? And make sure that that's the right solution. So if you do 6 times 4 plus 1, that does equal 25. So it checks out. All right, let's move on. On this side, we will add 5 to both sides because it is subtraction. We end up with 4x equals negative 28. Don't forget your negative rules. Divide both sides by 4. X equals negative 7. If you were to check that with your check step, it would work. Over here, whoops, let me erase that because I just covered up the word. Okay, let's try that again. 2m plus 8 equals 32. Subtract 8 from both sides. 2m equals 24. m equals 12. If you checked it, it would work. All right, over here, a lot of negatives. Subtract the 8 from both sides. Okay, negative 3x equals, don't forget KFC, very important. Okay, it's a negative 12. X, divide both sides by negative 3. That's also important to remember, dividing by a negative. Negative divided by negative is positive, so X equals 4. Okay, if you were to check that out, it would be correct. Let's just show that. Negative 3 times positive 4 plus 8 equals negative 4, because negative 12 plus 8 equals negative 4. Very important to keep your negatives in check. All right, go ahead and go on to the next page. Let's try some with some fractions and see how you do with that. So here, again, add 12 to both sides. So then you have 1/5 p equals 32. To get rid of a fraction, remember you must multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So we would do 1/5 p times 5 over 1 equals 32 times 5 over 1. Okay, so then p equals 32 times 5. I'm going to get my calculator out and do 32 times 5. And that equals 160, so p equals 160. You can check to see if that's right by doing 1/5 times 160. 160 times 0.2, which is also 1/5. That equals 32. 32 minus 12 equals 20. Good work. Okay, one more. Let me write this one over here just a little bit to get it out of the way. 8 equals 15 plus 1/3 n. Okay, subtract 15 off both sides. Always do addition or subtraction first. Okay, whoops, sorry, my bad. Let me erase that. Okay, 8 minus 15 is going to equal a negative 7 equals 1/3 n times both sides by 3 over 1. So n equals negative 21. Okay, you will do number 3 and number 4 in your note check. Okay, and then we will move on to the next ones. Okay, let's move on to the next ones. 9 minus t equals negative 34. This one gets a little tricky because you have a negative in front of the t, but don't let it confuse you. Subtract 9 off both sides. Okay, don't forget your KFC. Negative 34 minus 9, keep, flip, change. That's going to be a negative 43. Okay, negative t equals negative 43. And I think, hopefully you notice here, this really isn't a two-step equation. It kind of is, because you have to divide by negative 1. I guess it is. So here, when you see negative t equals negative 43, well, we don't care about negative t. We care about t. So divide both sides by a negative 1. Because remember, if you don't see something in front of the variable, there's a 1 there or a negative 1. So t equals positive 43. Okay, let's try it again on this side. Okay, on this side, add 15 to both sides because the 15 is negative, so that ends up being 59. Negative b equals 59. Well, again, we don't care about negative b, we only care about b, so b is equal to negative 59. Okay, good job. You do the you try on your own in the note check, and then we will move on again. Okay, like we said before, these are note check right here. Okay, we'll solve these. These get a little trickier because we have to combine some like terms before we move on. So here, you must combine your like terms before you solve. So we have 3x minus 27 equals 3. River, plus 27 on both sides. 3x equals 30. Okay, x equals 10. Oops, sorry that is scrolling on me. Let me get back up here. That's weird that it's doing that. Let me fix that. There we go. Okay, let's do this one. 4 minus 9c plus 3c equals 58. Let's combine our like terms. 4. Okay, this will be minus 6c equals 58 because the negative 9c plus a positive 3c is negative 6c. So then negative 6c equals 58 minus 4, which is 54 because we have to subtract 4 off both sides. Then we're left with negative c, because we're going to divide by 6, equals, well, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to divide by a negative 6 because that would be a lot better. So I'm going to divide by negative 6 because then it gets rid of the negative right away. So I'm going to divide by negative 6 on both sides, and then c equals negative 9. There you go. Good work so far. Okay, I'm sorry that this is kind of a longer lesson. There's a lot going on. These are note check. And then I'm going to do 2 more with you, it looks like. This is where we get into our distributive property. Let's not forget that. There are 2 ways to do this. My personal preference is to get rid of the number outside the parentheses first. You learned this last year in step 9 in unit 4. So what I'm going to do is divide both sides by 4 to get rid of the 4. Okay, sorry that keeps doing that. All right, so if I divide both sides by 4, these cross out, and I'm left with x plus 3 equals 28 minus 4. Okay, or I'm sorry, 28 divided by 4 is 7. Subtract 3 from both sides, x equals 10. Turns into a nice one-step equation. Let's just check this to make sure we're right. 4 times 10 plus 3 equals 28. Something seems wrong. 4 times 13 is not 28. So something went wrong. Let's see what I did wrong. Okay, we divided by 4. X plus 3 equals 7 minus 3. Oh, I just did something really stupid, didn't I? Look at that. Oh my goodness. See, that's why you do the check steps. Super important. 7 minus 3 is not 10, Miss McCauley. What is going on? 7 minus 3 is 4. So now let's check our check step again with the right number. Hello. See, we make mistakes too. 4 plus 3 is 7. 4 times 7 is 28. There we go. That's better, Miss McCauley. Get your stuff together. Okay, let's do this problem here. Let me make a little room. Okay. So in this one, you have a fraction. That gets a little ugly. You do not want to distribute that fraction. That just gets really messy. So instead, multiply both sides by the reciprocal, because then the fraction disappears, okay? 3/5 times 5/3 simply disappears, right? So over here, then we're left with m minus 6 equals, okay, over here we're going to multiply. Don't forget to cross simplify. 1, 3. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. All right, now we got a nice one-step equation. Add 6 to both sides. M equals negative 9. Okay, let's check it out and see if that's right. 3/5 times negative 9 minus 6 equals negative 9. Okay, I'm running out of space here. All right, so let's do that. Let me get a little more room here. Let me actually add a new whiteboard, or clear my whiteboard so I can show you this. 3/5. I'm doing the check stuff now. It was negative 9 minus 6 equals negative 9. Okay, so 3/5 times negative 15, if we do our KFC, equals negative 9. 5 goes into 15 3 times. That's a negative 9, which equals negative 9. We did it. Good job. Okay, you know it's your turn now. So you please try these on your own in the note check. Okay, note check. Make sure you're showing your work on your whiteboard or paper too. Now let's do a problem that's a word problem. Dion wants to go on a camping trip with his hiking club. The trip costs $185.75. He paid a deposit of $45.75 and will save an additional $17.50 per week to pay for the trip. This is your equation. Solve 45.75 plus 1750W equals 185.75 to find the number of weeks. So to solve that, okay, we need to, let's see, let me get a little more space here, and I'll make room for this. Let me just clear this. Okay, so I'm going to write it up here so I have some more space. I'm going to scroll up. 45.75 plus 1750W, equals 185.75. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is subtract the 45.75 from both sides. Okay, that's going to leave us with 1750W. I'm going to use my calculator. Actually, it's not that hard, right? I'm just going to subtract. Okay, 140. Okay, 1750W. So then you're going to divide both sides by 1750. Use your calculator when you're working with decimals, so much easier. So 140 divided by 1750 equals 8. So W equals 8. So he has to work 8 weeks to save enough money for this trip. Okay, you do the last word problem on your own in the note check, and then you are finally done with this lesson. I'm sorry that this video went a little long, but there was a lot to cover. Good luck on all your note check questions, and make sure to watch your negatives and ask for help if you need it. Bye for now.